Okay, everybody. Hi. How are you doing? It is Saturday night, October the 8th, 2022. There's so much going on. I've made several videos and they either went straight to members only or they're going to be up for a little while public and then go to members only. So I've done quite a bit because there is an awful lot that's going on right now. and I'm kind of looking back through all my notes here today. My notebook is full. Okay, so Meghan. Well, Meghan has stirred up. Well, I'll put it this way and stick to the title. She's making waves. Yeah. Now, one of the questions that I have is is Meghan making waves intentionally? Is this what she it was this her goal? Was her goal to create chaos, right? Now she said something last night in Captain Kurt Reacts, who by the way, there's two channels, y'all, that I want to put up links to tonight. The first one is Captain Kurt Reacts. So if you could go over and get the link to his channel and drop it in the chat, as we go through the night. And then the other channel is Chronicles with Olivia. And so I want to get both of those links and drop them in the chat as we kind of go through this. And the reason I want to do that is because I'm going to be showing little clips from each of those channels. Okay, 1 minute. Sorry, my voice is still pretty scratchy. I'm sitting pretty far back away from the microphone to try to help so it doesn't sound so awful. So please, forgive me. Thank you, Cinnamon. I appreciate your help. Okay, so last night, look, guys, if there's any video on YouTube that you don't want to miss, it's the Captain Kurt Reacts video from last night. Okay. Yeah, and I've got a couple of clips I'm gonna show from their panel that they did last night. And they had Meghan. She was up there quite a while. I thought Captain Kurt Reacts. I thought Captain Kurt did a great job being a moderator and trying to keep arguments at a minimum. Meghan appears to have taken a dislike for Perplex QT, which y'all know Perplex is my friend. She comes on the channel. I go to her channel. But he did a good job trying to kind of control people, firing shots across the bow. And I think that was helpful, to try to keep the conversation flowing, right, without it getting crazy. But it did get crazy nonetheless. And one of the things that she says in this video with Captain Kirk and these Perplexed and I think Fueled with Coffee and Crime Time. I think she was on there. Fueled with Coffee and True Crime. She was on the panel. And I think that she said something that really stood out to me. It bothered me a little bit. And she said that Sami had said that they wanted the story to go viral. That's exactly what Meghan said. Now, when you go over and you watch Captain Kurt, the panel that they had up last night, when you go over there and watch it, you're going to see very often Meghan tells the people that are listening to her, very often she tells them that they are confused. So, you guys know Perplexed, right? So Laura is, she's always looking to debunk. She's looking for those little tiny details, right? And anybody that watches her knows that. She's one of the few channels that really does that. And it's actually, I think she brings something extra to the table by having that orientation. Does she sometimes come off seeming a little bit harsh? Perhaps, but it's all, I think, from my perspective, it's all because she's just looking for truth and is not really wanting to buy into the hype and the hyperbole and all that. So she is one of those channels that's looking to debunk, and so she questions everything, and that's a good thing, right? So I noticed between Meghan being on several different channels, most recently this one with Captain Kurt, when people start saying, hold on a minute, wait, I'm confused. I thought you said XYZ. Then her go-to tool is to tell you that you are confused. And then she starts rewriting history. And I think it's having the effect that some creators that have been on panel with her have gotten really frustrated with her and felt maybe there's another agenda. So let me just go back to, I don't normally make a video. I don't usually make a video about a specific person per se, but I felt frustrated. Literally, I was so frustrated listening to these interviews with her. I just kept feeling like she is changing her story all the time. And as people make an attempt to clarify, then I think she says, you know, oh, no, you're getting confused. No, here's where you got it wrong. No, here's where you lost me or I lost you, something, you know, like that. So it's possible that people are getting confused, but for 2 weeks, right? Now, I thought it was interesting. Let me find my notes here. There came this moment. There came this moment where she began talking about how it was that she began coming up and making the YouTube rounds. And she takes this opportunity. This is right after she makes that statement that Sami wanted the story to go viral. Okay. And of course, Laura, Perplexed QT, does a great job. And she's like, but wait a minute. Don't say that you came up here and started doing the rounds after Sami was sort of, you know, dug herself into a hole and people were highly suspicious of her. You were already coming on YouTube. And she sort of argues a little bit, and then it comes out, Perplex says, no, you were actually on Gray Hughes' panel like the day before. And I thought, what? Like weeks ago, apparently. So then it came out, she says, and I felt like this was an attempt to make Laura uncomfortable, which makes me laugh because nothing makes Laura uncomfortable. We can all agree. She's a pretty tough lady, right? So I think she was making an effort to try to make Laura a little bit uncomfortable. And she said, well, I first came into your channel, Laura, but you called me a troll and you were rude to me. And then Gray Hughes was in your chat that night. And so he messaged me and said, why don't you come on my channel? Right. And then come to find out, lo and behold, none of that was accurate. And in truth, the first channel that she went on was Ictamel. Now, if you guys find that interesting, And we're not going to say it's interesting in a bad way or a good way or a crazy way. I mean, it just kind of makes your eyebrow go up. You know how Ten to Life's always laughing about her E-Rant eyebrow? If this makes your eyebrow go up and you kind of go, huh, put a one. If you think this is perfectly just nothing, a nothing burger, put a two. Okay, Meghan goes, huh. Who else? Annie, Teresa, Gearhead, lots of us. Yeah, there you go. So I don't feel so alone now. Thank y'all for that. So I'm thinking, really, again with Ictamel and Zanime, and really, it's just so odd. It's so strange. Um, Meghan says, and this caught me by surprise, that Sami is she is one of four children. Her oldest sibling is 40, and then 30, and then 20, and then you've got her Sami, who is 18 years old. So we've seen photos of Sami with her parents, and it's been verified. Sami's parents are attorneys. Both her mother and her father are attorneys. And it turns out she is the baby of this family of six, four children, two parents. Okay. Now, this also took me by surprise. And the reason that it took me by surprise is, why would two attorneys, two parents, why would they allow their 18-year-old child, who doesn't even have the protection of age, of being a minor, why in the world do you think that these two parents, attorneys, would allow their child to go front and center in this apparent mysterious missing person child case, that where things look really, really nefarious? Why would they do that? Why would they allow their child to do that? I can tell you, I would have been cutting phone lines and smashing cell phones and telling my child, you do not put your face out as the face of this mysterious disappearance. You are inviting trouble. Don't do it. The cops don't look like they're fully invested in this investigation. Something very strange happened at that party. You are not, young lady, to get involved in this. That would have been my position, and I'm not even an attorney, right? So I thought that was interesting when I heard this. I've heard a lot of different things. Oh, her parents are private investigators. Her parents are this. Her parents are that. And I didn't believe any of it because I'm skeptical. But now we seem to have really good verification that, yeah, they are in fact both attorneys. And before Sami went dark, she made a couple of posts that her parents had actually gotten her two criminal attorneys. This happening at the same time that Jagger has been officially cleared by the police. Right? All right. So very curious. Now, a lot of people have been saying that this kid is Sami's younger brother, but she does not have a younger brother. She has an older brother who's 20 years old. In the picture with the boat, that boy that is with them, that's her older brother. He's 20. All right. Okay. Now, in a curious look, the whole situation is curious. as you try to listen to Meghan talk. Let's just play a little clip from Captain Kurt from Captain Kurt Reacts from last night to get a feel for how this went.
Focus on what your experience was. Well, that goes both ways, because you kind of threw a shot at her by the video. If the video called for what it is, say Perplex posted a video about me, and call what it is.
I said the person, I did not say a name. She brought herself and said the video.
That's what you should have said a name. What I'm trying to tell you is just say the name and we keep moving past it. Perplex, don't take it to offense. Let her speak on what it is, and we'll get through that, because we're gonna get a lot more. No, I know you're not. I know I'm trying to make sure that it flows just as smooth as possible, so we don't get a bunch of you say, she say, and trying to, you know what I mean? I'm just trying to look out for the benefit of everybody involved in it.
Okay.
And I respect Perplex a lot, and I love what she does, and she's gonna come at you. She's gonna come at you. She wants to know, and it is what it is. That's who she is. And
Captain Kurt, you know, shout out to you. You did a great job controlling all of the emotions that were on your panel. You did a good job.
And we all got to respect that. If nobody can, then we'll have to figure out a way to handle that. But I feel like we can do it. All right,
that's more than fine.
Perplex, yes. Finish, because I know you weren't done with that question.
No, my only other question is, people keep asking in chat, and I asked them what interview, and they don't know, but they want to know, how do you know that Kiely had cocaine in her system?
I'm thinking. I know how to answer it. I'm just deciding if I.
Well, then answer it, Meghan.
I asked Sam, was there any drugs at this party? And she said yes. And I said, what drugs? And I said, if you don't want to tell me, you don't have to. And she said, no, we have anonymity, so I'm not worried about it. And that there was.
Okay, now they go on and they have this long conversation about anonymity, which is basically no one knows your name, right? Your identity is protected. Really, it wasn't a question of anonymity that they were trying to figure out. It's a question of immunity, and Laura clears that up for them. So let's go forward a little bit, because Laura says, no, I think you're talking about immunity. And so they got that worked out.
Trouble for anything?
Yeah,
that's anonymity. That's what I'm saying. The word, it's just you said that she said that they had anonymity.
The cops had already told her that's when the teen talk started, and they had started putting out the interviews, or that's when she started doing interviews, or they'd already.
Laura has said, you're talking about immunity, like that you can't be prosecuted, but they're still saying, no, it was anonymity. So it gets kind of confusing here, but just wait it out, because they're going to get past it. Meghan says something else quite odd a little bit before this. And she says that she was at the teen talk for the Chris Watts thing. She absolutely said that. Bigger in Dallas. So I thought that would be something I would like to hear more about.
How do you say it, Perplex?
Immunity.
No, immunity. No. Anonymity is the right. Anonymity means
immunity. Laura's right.
Immunity.
Anonymous.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're right. See, that's the same thing though. We're remaining anonymous. Whatever we do, nobody's gonna know who did it, who talked about it, who said it. Same thing.
But immunity is legal protection.
Were they talking about? Are they talking about having immunity from prosecution?
Yes.
Or are they talking about anonymity being their identity was protected?
It doesn't matter either way, really.
I think it was immunity.
Well, it does though.
I'm asking Meghan.
Yeah, it kind of does though,
the one that I can't say right is the right one that I'm saying for this. What is Perplex? How do you say it?
They're keeping their name right.
Say it again.
You are, but you ain't got to worry about getting in trouble. That's what the difference. Okay.
That's why the one I can't say right is the one I'm using for this one.
Yeah, immunity.
I was a legal secretary for 8 years.
Hey, shout out to Dolly
Okay, let's
Vision.
go.
If you get immunity on Turtle Island,
Come on,
that
guys.
means you can't get kicked off the island.
Forward.
So
Let's
there's
move
a little
along.
fun fact.
Battered later in the night. That's
Right.
how I know the two different.
So that was when they were at Kate's or with Kate, right?
I went
I
too
don't know.
far.
And I walked right up to him and I said to him, hi Jagger, and he said hi. I said, I'm not gonna grill you anything.
It's a bunch of mambo jambo, but it's entertainment.
Remember, they said, hey Meghan, how do you know what's going to show up in Kylie's system, the cocaine? How do you know? She says, Sami told me. Now listen to this. How it go, they get all sidetracked with the whole stupid anonymity, immunity, distraction. But listen, she very confidently said, Sami told me. Well, I have immunity. I can tell you, cocaine. Now listen to how this conversation changes. It's shocking.
Okay.
Anyway,
Meghan,
back to Meghan.
you said yesterday that, or on Michelle's panel, that it was Jagger that told you. Now it's Sami that told you.
Good job, Laura.
I had two different conversations, so that would be two different times. And
Okay, what was your
a month
conversation with
into it.
Jagger? Let's go into Jagger.
I had talked to Jagger, and Jagger is a very nice man, or young man, I should say, very tall, and I walked right up to him and I said to him, hi Jagger, and he said hi. I said, I'm not going to grill you anything. He goes, please go ahead. There's nothing that you can't ask me that hasn't been asked before. And I said, I'm going to respect you. And I didn't ask too many questions, but one did come up, and he said that Kiely, when he talked to her at a certain time of the day, he knew that she had done that at that time of day. So that's what he knew. And so that's what he also knew what time she had last done it at. And so it wouldn't have mattered later in the night. That's right. How I know the two different.
So that was when they were at Kate's or with Kate, right?
I don't know.
When they were doing creme brulee.
Okay, what is creme brulee? Do you know what that is? Is it weed or is it a dessert? Because if it's weed, I want to know how it's smacking. Is it smacking really like that? Come on.
I think I've seen that interview, and my daughter said, I don't know why those two are together. At the time, we had no idea. I think creme brulee is a dessert, and she's using that as a dessert.
Oh, no, it's definitely a weed, too. But I'm saying, did they have
I've
It's also an alcohol drink, too.
Yeah,
I've heard, yes, but if you listen to the interview, she says we're making creme brulee, which means they're baking, and that's what I think.
That's what I think.
I don't know for a fact, but yes, I do know it's a dessert.
Kate said they were making creme brulee.
Yeah, but
they were definitely making the weed dessert.
Check this out. I don't know the exact timeline. Hold on. I don't know the exact timeline. No, for real. This is important. I don't know the exact timeline on how long it takes to make creme brulee, but I know there wasn't a lot of time in between their hangout sessions.
I'll tell you this. Kiely was definitely busy that day, like from what I've gathered. So yes, I don't know, but I don't know the answer to that. I don't know when she took.
How long does it take to make creme brulee? You eat creme brulee?
Nope.
Do you know how to make it?
It takes about an hour.
It can be an hour, up to an hour.
Yeah, so they're just baking creme brulee, just sitting on the couch, getting ready to go to the party, eating creme brulee. I mean, it's possible. That is possible.
It's a bit of a complicated dessert to make.
It's a normal thing.
In my mind, I'm going to keep it as a dessert, and that's all I know.
Man, if they were smoking weed, just say I was rolling up some creme brulee, fucking blazing down. We live in California, man. That's what I'm saying.
I had to work, and frankly, I didn't really want to go to the service because I had talked to them one other time, and I thought when they were at a teen talk that I did not know it was a teen talk.
Did any of your family go to it? Anybody in your family? You don't have to specify who it was, but did anybody attend?
No.
Meghan, I got a question. Speaking of family, I remember you saying in an interview that your daughter graduated with Sami, and that's how they were friends, and that Sami, your daughter was going to go to the party and then changed her mind, but something where she wanted to see everybody before going to college, something like that, right?
Curtis, do you want to answer all that? Because I've already answered it all.
I don't know.
Wow.
Okay, I'll do it again.
No,
Meghan, you're not winning
age,
friends and influences people.
Oh, yeah. I know that. My bad. I was confused on that too, perplexed. So she said her son is the same age as Sami, but her daughter is 2 years older than her son. So her daughter's,
and that's what you said recently. But back on Gray's, I think it was, you said your daughter graduated with Sami, and that your daughter, there's something like your daughter.
I was confused on that too. What
was going to meet everybody or wanted to see everybody before going to college. And
I can explain. I think where it's getting confused is that my daughter had already gone. My daughter was not in California and still is not in California, anywhere near California during this party. So my daughter.
Is that strange? Do you think that's strange? I'm not nitpicking for details. And, you know, she's got a certain way of telling stories and talking, but she makes such a point to say, my daughter's not in California. My daughter's not there. At the time of the party, my daughter was not here. Oh, yeah, but my son is here, but he didn't go to the party. Well, but you've now inserted yourself in just an enormous way. You're basically making the rounds from panel to panel. When people try to call you on the discrepancies, because you've been to so many panels, people are picking up on, you know, changes in stories, and they're questioning you, and you either respond in a kind of rude way, or you just sort of rewrite things, and it just comes off feeling uncomfortable. And I think that it's fairly clear that you are intentionally making yourself a part of the story, which I think is interesting. You make it very clear that your 20-year-old daughter is not in anywhere near Truckee or California at all the night of the party. Like you said it 3, 4, 5 times right in one moment. You also go on and you say your own son, who was Kiely's, Sami's age, that he was not at the party. And yet you were at the teen talks. And you say child I spoke to at a teen talk about Chris Watts. I put it in quotation marks. Were your kids at the party? And then you went on, you referred to Evan being at the party. You spoke to him. This was when you were at the teen talk. You then go on to say, even though you're at the teen talk, talking about Evan or talking to Evan, and you bring up Chris Watts' name, and then you go on to say, well, I was at the teen talk, but I didn't know it was a teen talk. I'm sorry. It's confusing to me. Now, you said, in your own words, you said, you told some of the kids at this teen talk, you said, I am here to defend you guys. From your own words, you said that. When interviewers have tried to kind of pin you down, that the story, the way you're answering questions is a bit vague. It's hard to really comprehend how the flow of the stories happen. When people try to pin you down, you say phrases like, well, a person at the store. Well, when you're talking about the person at the store, that was actually somebody that previously you had referred to as being your friend for 20 years. And then you said you didn't even know who their child was. So the idea that you told these kids at the teen talk, I am here to defend you guys, and you're talking about how many times that Sami has been with you, with your daughter, going places in your car. What did you say? You said that Sami has been in your car. She has taken day trips with you, and that you have seen her downtown, but you have never met her parents. And then you say, quotation marks, that is exactly the truth. And then you talk about how you're a really involved parent and you're strict on your kids, but that you've had other people's kids say to you that they wish that you were their mom instead of the mom they have, because you're strict and at least the kids would know that you care about them. And then you go on and you talk about how you know Sami, and then you follow up with, well, Sami does whatever she wants to do. No one cares where she goes. The whole tone is concerning among the adults. It's curious. When I was thinking about doing this video, I was trying to think of the angle, the specific narrowed down topic that I wanted to sort of highlight that would show, like, that would reflect the thing that makes me uncomfortable about this whole relationship. The timing of Meghan coming up on all the panels she shows up about the same time the whole video shows up, sort of demonizing Sami's parents and the parents of other children that were there. Her being Sami said, parents, don't come, drop your kids off, don't even look back, keep going. It was so bizarre. And yet now we find out that Meghan is at the Teen Talk. So the rules didn't hold for Meghan. And why would Meghan be there? Because her daughter wasn't even in California, and her son was not at the party, even though he graduated with Kiely. So why would you be at the Teen Talk? Going through this, all of these panel discussions that she's had, and all the discrepancies and the discomfort, and it's so much that it would be very difficult to kind of break it down into like a simple explanation. You guys just have to go listen for yourselves. And a great place to start is the live from last night with Kevin Kurt Reacts. It's a great place to start.
It's like a very sensitive question.
Yeah, just say move on.
Perplexed.
Or pass.
Anybody can say that. I don't care, man. Eventually, based off of what we see here, all the questions are probably going to get answered 4, 5, 6, 7 times. Who knows? Some of these questions, I will tell you this, Meghan, you stretch them though. You stretch them. You stretch them a little bit.
I'm going to say it this way so that it comes out correctly.
Well, you stretch it.
Some of these parents, and I'm going to say 10 different names. I'm going to say John, Dick, Bob, Jr., whoever they are, so that no one can be involved, but no one can, Sam, Kyle, Connor, all these guys, all the names. You want me to say all of them? Some of their parents, Frank, all of those parents. Some of those parents don't care. They really just don't care.
Jesus.
And I think that I think that if anybody is going through with any of this as an 18-year-old, I would hope, and if I didn't care as a parent, or someone wasn't going to step up for my child, I would hope someone else would step up for my child.
So I'm gonna pop in over here and look at the chat. Dr. Latina, welcome. Thank you so much. Yeah, perfect timing. Dr. Latina says whiffs of being predatorial. You know what, Dr. Latina? Exactly what was going through my mind. This is very uncomfortable that you have an adult inserting herself into the lives of young people and demonizing the parents. Yes, ingratiating herself with 18-year-olds. Why? So there's so much coming out on these panels that looks, very uncomfortable. Be very careful what I say, but man, tough. Okay. Indian Paintbrush says, could she just be a local busybody who sticks her nose in everything? Well, I mean, sure. And I think everybody has pretty well reached that point. But here's the problem with that idea. The problem with that idea is that we've got a 16-year-old child who is dead. That's the problem. You've got a 16-year-old kid who magically ended up at the bottom of a lake, and she's apparently, possibly, could be strapped down in the boot of the back seat. How did the car get there? How come one of the windows is broken out? How come the back seat window is down? Right? So this isn't a case of, some kids showing up drunk because they were over at some adult's house getting drunk. We've got a young woman, a little girl who's dead. And it seems she claims that she is so in with this group of teenagers that they're willingly telling her, oh yeah, totally, we were all using cocaine. Yeah, we were using coke that night. It was great. Should have been there. I've seen people say, who bought the alcohol? Where'd the alcohol come from that night? I don't know. Probably a trusted adult over the age of 21, would you guess? She got embarrassed last night and she admitted it. She was wanting attention. Well, Eden, she certainly got it, didn't she? Did they debunk the person that came out saying guys were there at the party with ball bats and no shirts on? I have not heard that being debunked. And going even further than that, it seems very uncomfortable. It appears that at the time that these boys were blocking the road down from the party, that was about the same time that the car was going in the water. Were there a group there that were trying to control the traffic as they were putting an end to whatever went wrong, right? We have this grown woman now defending and coaching teens. It's very suspicious behavior and actions from a grown woman. Yeah, the minute that she said that she's such a great parent and all the other parents suck, and that even the teens are telling her how they wish that she was their mommy because she's strict and that means that she cares. When's the last time you heard a 16, 17, 18-year-old saying something like that? Because I ain't never heard that. You know what I mean? Those kids whose parents are, not strict, they're just living life large, correct? There's so much that it's got me so nervous. I want justice for Kiely and whomever the 24-year-old girl is. No way the parents didn't know about that party. Yeah, so initially, I will tell you this. Initially, I believed that this woman was trying to help Sami. That's what I believed. I believe that Sami might have been a friend of the family, blah blah blah, and that she recognized that Sami had made some terrible missteps, and so she was just stepping in as a mature adult, saying, "Hey, your videos you're putting up, that you're really thumbing your nose at the public. That's not going to be helpful to you. And the cops have not yet cleared you, even though they've cleared Jagger. And you're still doing things that make people, question what your motives are. And so let's make some changes here. Let's clean up your social media, pull yourself out of the limelight, and, get focused on schoolwork. Don't go out drinking and getting drunk. And let's give the cops time to, come out and say, we've cleared Sami Smith, right? Now, this isn't even the mother of Sami Smith. The mom should have been doing that, or the dad, right? Or even the 40-year-old sister. Why wouldn't the 40-year-old sister come out and say, oh my God, Sami, what is wrong with you, child? Stop. You're being stupid, right? If you were a 40-year-old sister and you had a 20-year-old or an 18-year-old little sister, would you sit back and watch this train wreck? Or would you be inserting and trying to get control of your 18-year-old sister and saying, hey, this is no game. This is real life, right? So it is so odd. So Robin says, wow, thoughts of grandeur about herself, Meghan the supermom. Yeah, I think Dr. Latina, this inserting herself, building up this behind the scenes secretive relationship with these kids, questioning people all around town about the party. Lindsay, why are you yelling at people on social media that silence is golden? You might have people right there in your town under your nose that need that lesson. Marlena says, I think she's either getting paid by Sami's parents to shut us up, or she's doing it on her own, hoping to be compensated because she knows Sami's parents have money. I don't know. It feels different than that. It feels like she legitimately is getting some, I think she's getting some enjoyment out of the attention. I think she feels important to be a part of the story. I've been saying the seatbelt sticking out the back hatch is a smoking gun. No way it can be there by accident. 100%. Yes. Yeah. There is hashtag no honor in silence. Hashtag justice for Kiely. Thank you. All right. Okay, so let's take just a couple minutes more on this strange. Boy, I am going to tell you what. Captain Kurtz, Laura, Fueled with Coffee, Sleuth, you guys y'all did a great job last night. This was a great panel. Really good. Really direct, to the point. No softball questions. It was so great.
All the kids the day of the memorial. So I asked you what kids, if you didn't go to the memorial, what kids? Now you're talking about someone in a bank.
And a child.
Okay. I didn't go to the memorial. I was at work. I got off work and I went to the bank, and the people that had just ended at the memorial, one of the parents was at the bank. So we were talking as friends. My friend
No,
and I were
I
talking.
get that. But you said you
Let her
spoke
finish.
to
Let her
all
finish. Cause she's, yeah.
the day
Next,
of the memorial.
yeah. Next, she said the 40. Next, she goes into the baby. Though. That's what I wanted to hear. You said you spoke to the kids, but she said this is what she's telling us how she got to speak to the kids, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah,
She said she
that's
went
the
to the
point.
bank and talked to a friend of 40 years about a kid. And then we wound up with the baby. And I was, what?
It was her kid.
No, the baby. There's no baby.
Well, the child.
I went to the bank, talked to a friend, and I asked her a question or I said, were your kids at the party? And she said, yes. And I said, I'm very sorry to hear that. And I said, if I ever run into a Pacific child again that I can't find, and I don't know where he is, and I don't know where he is, I would ask him this question. I asked her the question, and she said, well, what's his name? And I said,
Where were the kids at? Where were the kids at?
They were at the house. They were at the house.
No, you asked her if her kids were where? At the memorial?
At the party.
At the party.
The party.
Well, why do you feel bad for them if they're at the party?
Exactly, Captain Kurtz.
I don't feel bad for anybody.
You said you did.
Kiely. I was at the bank. Okay, this is what you guys are missing. I went to the bank.
Go ahead, let her finish. Right? Go ahead, because you just said
Megan,
you're fine.
Megan, you're referring to Evan, correct?
Yeah, I think so.
Yes, I'm referring to Evan. Thank you.
Okay.
So
I mean, he's over 18, right? So
he is over 18.
Hold on. But Megan, you just said 5 minutes ago that you spoke to the kids that were at the party.
And she did say that. Laura is correct about that.
That's
she's talking to the mom right now.
5 minutes.
She's talking to the mom.
Right. Is this leading her there? I think she's trying to give some backstory.
She never gets there.
If I just say to this, okay, so let's just say this. I just drove.
Hey, you can just say I talked to my friend. Hey, I talked to my friend, and her kids were at the party, and that's how I
trying to save her.
Is that what happened?
I talked to the friend. I asked her herself. I said, "Was your child at?" Because I knew the memorial was that day, which I did not go to.
Come on.
So I did not intend to talk to anybody that day. It was 7:30 at night. I was just on my way home, and I was tired, and I was done with asking questions. I was over it. And so as a parent, I said, when she came back, she goes, it's been a day. And I said, I'm sorry. I know it's Kiely's memorial today. And I'm sure she does have a child that would be now that I think about it, would be at the party. I didn't think about it at the time. So I asked her, I said, were your kids at the party that night? She said, yes. And I said, who are your kids? And she told me, and I went, I don't.
And that is not true. See, now, so she changes it now, right? So her original story that she's telling everybody that Laura calls her out is she says that she asked the lady, were your kids at the party? And the lady says, yes. And she says, oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. That's what right there. Just if I wanted to rewind the video just moments before. And that's when Laura says, wait, what? And now she's completely changed it after telling this whole entire panel that they're all confused. This is called gaslighting.
I don't know who they are. I didn't know. I only met, this is when the next thing comes. I'd only met her child 6 months prior in a different accident completely. And her child had gone off the side of the road. And I had said, is your child okay? And I said, and she said, yes, it's the same one that was at the party. And I went, what? And then because I didn't know last names. I didn't know kids' names. I didn't want to know kids' names.
Didn't want to know?
She goes, and I said, there's one child that I talked to at a teen talk. That's where you guys are. That's where this gap is. When I went to the teen talk about the Chris Watts stuff, then
boom. What the hell? What does that mean? Can you guys tell me what that means? She went to a teen talk about the Chris Watts stuff. What is that? Me too, Eden. Me too. The chaos that she is creating is unbelievable. Aisha says she is off her rocker in my opinion. Dr. Latina says unfocused, tangential speech. Yeah, it's very the freaking hello fuzzy. My mind is already blown up. Nothing she says makes sense. Agreed, Pink. I remember thinking, what? So Indian has already listened to this video. It's a great interview, isn't it, Indian? Such a great panel. Such a great panel. But Terry, her kids, why wouldn't you want to know their names? And why does she say, oh, I don't want to know them? But you've inserted yourself into a teen talk and you've said that all the kids want you to be their mommy. And you've said that you're standing there to protect the kids. You're standing up for the kids. And now you say, oh, well, I don't know their names and I don't want to know their names. My daughter wasn't even in California at all. And my son didn't go to the party. This is getting weirder and weirder. When lying so much, I'm reading my side chat. When lying so much, it gets hard to keep your story straight. Agreed. I agree with you. She's always going on about, these are my kids, Brian. How unusual is that? Again, Dr. Latina said it best. It feels quite predatorial. It really does. It, at the very least, we're listening to a serious problem with healthy boundaries. I mean, this woman is simply not setting appropriate boundaries in her community, right? Misha thinks possibly Scientology. I don't know about that. Hey, Soul. Okay, why was she at a teen talk if no parents were allowed? Thank you. That's what I want to know. This thing goes from strange to just mind blown. No understanding, no way to figure out what in the world she's speaking about. Now, Captain Kurt does a great job keeping the panel on track. Laura does an absolute great job pointing out or trying to point out these inconsistencies when she's allowed to. Boy, y'all got to go listen to this whole thing. It's crazy. You got to go listen to the whole thing. And if you're not subscribed to Captain Kurt, you're really missing out on good content.
And then everything had died down. I ran into someone at the bank, and at the teen talk, one of the kids named Evan had said to me a question, because I was like, let's talk about this. So I was having a conversation with the kids at teen talk. Now, when I say teen talk, I didn't know it was a teen talk. I didn't go for the teen talk. I didn't care about the teen talk. I had physically called Sam and said, I just seen something on the internet and I think you should know about it.
Didn't she just say, just now that you guys heard, didn't she say that she went to the teen talk about the Chris Watts stuff? If you heard her say that she went to the teen talk to learn about the Chris Watts stuff, put a 1. If I am wrong and I misheard that, put a 2. Why is she so worried about being kids' friends and being liked by all the kids? Her own daughter asked her to please stay off YouTube. Shannon, oh my God, that's just horrifying. I just cannot imagine inserting myself into my child's business on such a public platform. It is just awful. Okay, thank y'all. So I'm not having any problem with my ears and my comprehension. We all heard the same thing. She says, I went to the teen talk to listen to the Chris Watts stuff. And now here she is 3 minutes later saying, I didn't want to go to the teen talk. I didn't know it was a teen talk. So crazy.
And I said, where are you? Then I went to the teen talk. That's what even drove me there in the first place. I didn't plan on going there. There were other kids there. And I said, I'm here to defend you guys. And I'm here to help you. And one of the children said, there's not many people out there that are trying to do this.
So not only is she the hero to all of the poor kids who get to do whatever they want and their parents don't give them curfews or anything. She's also now being the only adult being allowed at the Teen Talk. And they're building her up saying, oh, thank you, Meghan. Thank you for being the only person out there willing to stand up for us. This is shady.
I'm glad she's here and maybe that's helpful. And then I said, and they said, because Twitter's been bullshit all day long, that means nothing. And they went into this whole thing, which is again, kid stuff. And I went, okay. So then I asked someone, he said that, I said, because I asked this question, if it was just a random person, how did they know Kylie's car was Kiely? How did they know Kiely and Kylie's car if it wasn't random or if it was not random? Like, like if there was, if she had come across someone and someone had done something suspicious at this time, not thinking of any of the children, because I don't think they did anything wrong, and I'm pretty sure they didn't, and I can guarantee that.
So really? You can guarantee that, Meghan? How can you guarantee that? Like, what have you got? You know who did it? So you know it couldn't possibly be the kids because you actually know the culprit? Is that the way you're going to guarantee that it was none of the kids?
We were then at that point talking just amongst ourselves. And one of the kids said something to me, and then that's when the liaison came over and talked to
Meghan.
That was when the liaison came over and pulled her away, quote unquote. And I'll guarantee you the liaison was somebody connected with law enforcement, and they looked and they said, well, what the hell is she doing here? This is very unusual in my opinion. Explains Watts' statements perfectly. When Perplexed QT made the video comparing Chris Watts and Sami's behavior and statements on the interview with media and Tony Dodge. Yes. Yeah. And I agree 100%. Hey, Rabid. I agree 100% with Laura. The facial expressions of Chris Watts and Sami, the verbiage that they chose, the emotional disconnect from the words, it was just boom. It just the parallels. And I told Laura, I said, I see it. I know exactly what you're talking about. I see it. So people might want to demonize related to that video. It's a very good video. It's a great video. Why so much secrecy? I think it's related to drugs and Kylie's age, also not wanting their private community exposed and dissected. I didn't understand her reference to the Watts. Apparently she was, wait a minute, what? Apparently she was blocked from someone's channel back in the day before the Chris Watts case. Tyler Feller mentioned this on his channel. So if she has been on a panel before. So you think this is not the first crime that she's inserted herself into? YouTube continues to be Kylie's voice. Apparently. I do too, Robin. Thank you, Rochelle. Thank you so much. Must be something in the water. That was a very bad joke, Big Ups. I wish I had caught it before I read it. There's much more going on here than Meghan being a busybody and a gossiper. You know, to believe that this is simple, gossipy, bored housewife inserting herself, something else going on here. I think Shannon's 100% right on. She bought alcohol for a minor or two at the party. You think so? You got to, you know, that's been a big question among a lot of people. Who bought the alcohol? Where did it come from? Who bought it? Got to be somebody over 21, right? Possibility, Mike. Yep. There's a few on YouTube that should get into investigations. Truckee has it backwards. Okay. All right, so I'll let it finish this one little bit, but look, this is a long panel that they did, a couple of hours, and it is worth every minute. So please, when I end the, and I'm gonna take a minute to look at the video of the car going into the lake, and then after we do that, then I'm going to end this live. I really hope and wish that every one of you will go over to Captain Kurt, subscribe, and watch this panel. Your jaw will be on the ground. It's just this little bit that I pulled out are the boring parts. There's so much in this video. It's mind blowing.
You spoke to the kids
hold on,
that
hold on,
can
Let
hear.
Dylan.
hold on,
Dylan
hold
hasn't
on.
got to talk. Let Dylan.
Sorry,
hold on,
Dylan.
guys. No, you're fine. Megan, take a breather for me. Just take a breather. You get
Yeah,
real caught
thank
up in what you're trying to say because you're trying to think before you speak. I understand
No.
that. So just calm down. Well, you get to talking super quick, and
Yep.
then you're trying to think of what you're gonna say.
Dylan's right.
We can be here all night. It's not that big a deal. Just take a breather. Explain it the best you can, as fluent as you can. You don't have to go so fast. Just get it out there. You're
I
totally fine,
really like
but
this
I just
guy,
wanted to say
Dylan.
that you're getting your words mixed up, all this and that. Just take a breather. Slow down.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
She feels like she got mixed up. Like she shouldn't have never said anything in the first place. And she said something and now
Yep.
she regrets it and she's trying to fix it. And she feels like she's making it more and more of a mess.
No, I don't. I know I didn't say anything wrong. I think that it's because you guys weren't with
Just
me. And
interpret it.
Yeah, you weren't with me. And so I talked to the kids. I was never at the memorial, never went to the memorial. I didn't even watch the memorial until like 3 days later. I have no idea because I've heard about the memorial, and I did talk to.
I want you to know I totally get what you're saying about being misconstrued. It's kind of along the same lines of when, for lack of a better comparison here, because I'm not a fan of Tony Dodge per se, but I'm going to kind of give it the comparison of when Tony Dodge made the statement to Sami when he said, "I followed you at your." Then the rumor started that he was not only physically.
But that's the person should speak up, and I just keep going to the fact that I'm so confused on if this is what it's all about. It's about getting
It was
support.
honestly, I know that you guys, that it was honestly because of the Chris Watts video.
No, it's not.
That's
Not
that's
true.
bullshit.
No, but that's a false reality. That is a false reality. Because when I seen that video, I didn't take anything of that video that holds Sami to that character.
And she and the truth is that Meghan was on Gray Hughes' panel the night before that video came out.
I looked at body language, and you're not even what my opinion is if you would have never said Sami's name and you would have waltzed in and said the same thing you said and called it strawberry pudding, it still would have been weird to me. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not.
Because I went to go because I saw. Okay. Anyway, that's why for me as a person, maybe I took it wrong. I don't know. Like that's fine. I took it differently than someone else did, and maybe that's my interpretation of what I thought it was. And I played it for Sam, and they all heard it. All the teams did. And then she broke down in tears. The lady.
Oh my god! Oh my god! So this woman went to where all these teens were and played Laura's video. Is that what I'm hearing? Is that what y'all take it to be? She's like 45, 50 years old. She's an adult. These young men on panel are on point, very sophisticated and genteel. It's a breath of fresh air and gives me hope that younger adults are going to lead our YouTube streets towards sanity and balance. We can only hope. Hey, Hillbilly Heart. Yeah, Dylan's, I really like him. He was on with Ryan Upchurch and we discovered a lot of stuff. Yeah, I like him a bunch. Yeah. Hey, Sandy. Damn. So this lady took Laura's video and played it for all these kids. Crazy.
Liaison came over and talked to me and she said, I'm not doing any more. That's when Sam said, I'm not doing any more interviews. I have a liaison now and I'm shutting up. So and they were going to figure out what they were going to do about the video. And that was the end of that. I didn't see them again. I left. That was it. Bye. Have a nice day. There was no more communication with Sam at that point. Or no, at all. I have not communicated with Sam since that day at all. Then I went to then I took 2 weeks off. Everything was going back to normal. She got found. We were all happy she was found. Everything was great. Not found, happy. But
wait a minute. Not everybody was happy she was found. Can we be honest here? There were a lot of people that were seemingly just relaxed and fine as long as she wasn't found. And then as soon as she was found, they got really angry and snarky and began character assassination against AWP. So no, I don't think your community was altogether happy she was found. There was something else definitely happening behind the scenes.
But we were happy that the search was over for her. Now we were just going to wait for the rest of the Ellie to do its part. Then I find out about a 911 call that I got lied to about, and I was upset about, because I'm like, why would a grown woman, just like you say, insert herself when I didn't ask for it?
Did you go back and ask her? Did you go back to that woman specifically, to that specific woman, and ask her, why did you say that to me?
What's up with this?
Hey, if I go to the bathroom real quick and let y'all do your thing, y'all promise that you're not gonna get out of control in here. You promise I ain't gonna come back and do a whole bunch of.
I'm gonna wait.
We'll keep it peaceful.
I'm gonna wait.
You're good, Kurt.
I'll be really quick in it.
So Megan,
I'm gonna wait because the rest of
go back to that woman specifically and just chat with her and say, hey?
I went to go find her. I did. That's when I had the next ball drop on me. And I went in, and that's when this is where I don't know legally where I stand on this, or not stand, where I physically and legally, not physically, legally, there is a gap here, because if I say what I know at this point, because I did something for myself that was bad, and I didn't know it was bad at the time. I thought it was, I did it for purely myself so that nothing could be misconstrued and I could hear it for myself. Okay. Let me just stress that 150%, because
you're being nosy.
Because if I say this, the next part that I'm going to say
I love
is that
Southern logic said, well, you're being nosy, right? He's awesome. Yeah. Well, do y'all know what that's about? What is that about? Yeah, they are hybrid. Did she record something? Welcome, Charlie Faith. Did she record something? Does she think it was foul play? Here comes the worst part. Shannon's helping us out here. Shannon. Okay, let's see. No, she says it was not foul play, Angela. Okay, Shannon says, here we go. Y'all hang on.
Went in to go after a week and a half of everybody telling me that Meghan's lying about the 911 call. I got mad at this situation because now I'm being called a liar, and I don't lie. I don't tell fibs, and I'll tell you the truth. There's no reason for me to lie. So I went in and I went to go find the girl that told me this. Instead of finding the girl that told me, or the woman, I should say, okay, this is when I have to use different terminology, so you guys all get this. And you guys are gonna have to follow along, because this is where I have to be very careful, apparently, on what I say right now. And
Megan, let me just say something before I jump down, because I'm putting my head into a fucking wall.
I know.
The truth never changes. You know, but you don't need to
Yeah.
speak to us like we're the ones that are idiots
That- yes,
and don't
Laura.
understand.
Yes.
Why don't you just speak the truth and then you don't have to worry? Just speak.
I'm not
the truth.
worried. I know what the
Not
truth is.
going 30 miles an hour. Just speak the truth, and then you don't have to worry about anyone not
I do have to worry.
understanding or
That's-
misconstruing or anything. Just
I'm
speak
not-
the truth.
Go ahead, Megan.
That's it.
Okay. I then went to go find the girl that lied to me. Let's say the principal I went to go find the principal of the establishment that lied to me. Instead of going to, and so I walked into the store and I went, you know what? Instead of asking, since I can't find that person that I walked into that facility, I found a different person. And I said, and I called her over nicely and I asked her a few questions. One of the and I said, were you at the party? Were you one of the girls that she mentioned that went out that night? And she said, yes, I was. And I went, okay. So I then asked her a multiple of questions. And she said her exact words to me, and this is where it gets important for everybody to hear. Her exact words to me, and I have this on.
Yeah, we know. We're picking up what you're putting down.
Picking it up, picking it up. I picked it up. I got it. I'm running.
I don't.
Okay.
I don't know what's happening.
I have.
This is
have
important.
I have because it is important. I did something so that for my own purpose that I would be so that no one could call me a liar. I could then go back and say this exact thing happened, and I didn't know it was wrong. I didn't know that.
Well, I have a question where you went. I have a question.
Sounds like recording.
I'll get them up.
I have a question for you though. Were you in person or were you in a phone call?
Person.
That's right, Ashley.
Okay, you're good.
Yeah,
You're in the state of California?
No, you're not. This is where I found. This is what I'm saying. It's a two-party state, which I did not know.
But you
I don't know.
Oh my goodness, Lex
Were you
Luthor.
in
Hold
a
on.
public place
Hold
or
on.
a private place?
Pause for the moment before you answer that question, Lex Luthor. I've been trying to rotate the panel as much as I can, but there's been like 4 people that keep coming in that have been on panel before, so I keep kicking them out.
Let Megan say the important part.
People down there. I just added old Shelly up here. Shelly's gonna get her time. I think she's Australian or something. I bet. Okay, Shelly, you wait. Megan, go ahead. Whoever's question was, but I've been trying to rotate the panel.
Hush.
Pause for everybody. Take a breather for a second.
No, let Megan
because
talk.
I'm getting manic right now, and I'm like,
let her talk.
Squirrel. I'm about to start eating all these baseballs on my shelf. I'm about to pull my crayons out and start eating my crayons.
Well, a lot of this. And
Dylan, look up
the
turkey leg.
Okay, so then this video of the headlights come out. I went. This was. I could tell you the day. I have it written down. I went into this facility. I talked to a lady that was at a different party that night. That the lady had told me that these people had. I found the girl that the lady said that she had called the cops. And I said, "Did you call the police that night?" And she said, "No, I did not call the police that night." And I went, "Well, I don't understand. Why did she say that she called the police that night?" And she goes, "I don't know what. We never called the police. We didn't know." She had seen they were at Prosser on a different side of the lake. And I said pond the other night, and I want to clarify that it's the same lake, but now it's a pond
is
because
this?
it's smaller.
Who is this lady down here doing the AOKs and shaking her head? What the hell is that?
So I would call it a pond now before I'd call it a lake. So they were across the lake at it where there was 3 people. 3, count them. 1, 2, 3. 3 people were having a get together of an after work party. That was what she was talking about. They were having drinks. 2 sisters and another friend that worked together. They happened to know. They did not know at the time about the Prosser party in Kiely. They didn't know anything about this. So the next,
because it didn't happen yet, right? Is that what she's talking about? Before the car went in the water?
When they go to work and they see that Kylie's missing, they say, "I wonder if that's the car that I was suspicious about." So they.
Now I want everybody to remember, wasn't Xana May spending the night across the way? Yeah, there you go. Not so dumb. Zanime was spending the night across from where the car went in. See how many people said exactly that? I wasn't even looking at the chat when I said that. Damn. This is, man. Thank you, Dr. Latina. You are very generous and I appreciate it. Mike, you're a sweetheart. Thank you so much for your help. I appreciate it. I am freaking out here. If you're freaking out, put a 1. If you seem to understand exactly what this lady's talking about, put a 2. I'm so confused, Shalimar. This is mind-blowing. Wow. 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 Oh, okay. I'm still good. Shannon, we're going to keep on listening and see if we can figure out what she is talking about.
They went into, so they told their principal that they need, and she said, you need to go tell the police. So they went to the establishment of the police department where a teen talk again was at the same teen talk, probably the same day I was there, or a different day. I don't know.
No, there was no teen talk the day
she came up and she said, I need to talk to someone. Then they said, well, just call the tip line. And this person said, no, I don't need to talk on the tip line. I need to talk to a detective or someone in charge. And they said, okay, so they got a detective. There was 2 people. This person does not speak English as their first language. Okay?
Oh, so that would be, would that be Elsa's mother? Would that be Zanime's cousin from the Ukraine?
She does not, and so she took her sister with her because she was nervous, and she said what she had seen at the lake that night. Well, she talked to a detective, and I have this in whatever, and she talked to a detective. The detective said, okay, we'll call you back. Well, they never called her back. They went the next day again and talked to someone else, or the day before. She went twice, she said. And she talked to someone else, she reported it again. And they said, we'll get in touch with you. And she said, I'll take you out there right now to where I think this person is, or where I want you, where you should be looking. And they said, no, thank you very much for your information. If we have anything more to say to you, we'll be in contact with you. She was never, no detective, no nothing ever got in contact with her again. So for 2 weeks, for 2 weeks, this girl was watching everybody looking for Kiely, the 1900 hours, the search parties, everything. And she's going, I know it, but no one's listening to me. So when Kiely was found 15 days later, she said she had a Snapchat. She showed me her picture of Snapchat. She pointed to her phone and said, this is where we were, and this is where the car went this is where this gets because the lights so you guys have to go back to what the lights came out yesterday or 2 days ago when they had the fire lights where no one and everybody's seen the car go into the water, and we all know that now.
You can't say who it is though.
What?
You picked up all that?
Is it the Spanish lady from the party beside the party that saw her car go in?
Zanime.
She saw the car go very, very, very slowly, very close to the water.
Slowly, very close to the water. Like it could have been pushed in.
I asked her
rather than driving.
I said, was it pushed in, or were there anybody around? She said no, and I couldn't see anything, and it was very dark. So I didn't, and that's why she did not call 911, because she didn't think that that's why there was no 911 call made. So that's what, and then, so.
Now, originally they said there was a 911 call. Originally, she said there was a 911 call, and everybody checked the rolls, and they said, no, we have the list of all the 911 calls, and there was no call made at that time. That's a lie. And so now she's changed her story.
So she saw the car go in the water?
Yes,
Very
and she turned
slowly.
around.
And no 911 call?
She didn't. Well, no, that's what happened. She doesn't. She says, and this
Double
was all.
it.
I didn't want to go too much further with her because she, for her own, she's very
SV, me too.
shy. I want to say is a good word, and she does not want to be. Yeah, she does not want to speak out. She doesn't want her name out. She's gone through stuff this month that is family oriented, and it's been hard month for her. She took almost 2 weeks off of work because it's been very hard on her and everything else. So she does not want her name out there, period, end of sentence, but she thinks that the family deserves to know. So that's what this thing says.
Jesus Christ. I am so over this.
I go,
you know what? Okay. Look. So this chick, Meghan, the first channel she goes on is Mel. Same thing with Anime. They all kind of did their thing all together, right? It just got crazy and out of control. Everybody just walked away and said, done with this. This is going nowhere. This is just goofy and silly and dumb. And now, and so you've got a couple of weeks that go by, and now these people come out with the question of the lights. And now they're claiming that these 3 people spent the night across from where Kiely's car went in that night, and that they literally saw her car go into the water. Oh, but I can't tell you who it was because it was so hard. She doesn't want her name out there. It was so difficult, but it's been a hard time. She's had to take time off from work. It's just I think it's anime, Michelle. I think it's anime. Cerisi said, I think she's eating the wrong mushrooms. You guys are, man, I am proud to know y'all. You guys are snarky. Man, snarky. Okay. All the fun part aside. Okay, so now I want to look at okay, so please, Cinnamon, would you put up Captain Kurt's link so that people can go to his channel to watch the entirety of the panel? It was nearly 3 hours long, and lots of, well, like you heard, Laura banging her head against a brick wall. All right, so let's watch this. Is that the right one? Yeah. All right, here we go. This is from Chronicles of Olivia, and I believe that Fueling with Coffee and True Crime, she said that this was a lot clearer and easier to see. So please drop Olivia's link, and I'm just playing a little short snippet of this to end the program. And so you can see she's put out a 46-minute video. And listen, y'all, she's a videographer. She's making like documentaries. Her work is so good. So please go over and watch it. She's a great channel. Here's the end of the point right here, I believe. Wow, that's much, much clearer. Thank you, Olivia. And you see across the way here, you can see the headlights shining here, or this is coming from these cars, maybe this car, but I I can't decide. I've heard a lot of people say they think this car is going in backwards. I don't know. That may be as big as I can get. Yep, I'm zoomed in as far as I can right there. I'm going to start it again. It looks like it's going forward because you can see where the lights are on the ground. Light still in front of the bubble. That is definitely... Wow. Olivia, you are so talented. This is so clear and easy to see. It's amazing work. Thank you, Olivia. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. So it takes about a minute for the car to go down, to go underwater. Now, I'm very interested in all of this other movement, okay? I'm really interested in these guys here. And you're going to see cars that come up and take this left back up onto the main road. You're going to see a few cars up here at the sanctuary. But let me ask you guys this. In any way, are you watching this and saying, hey, yeah, that is probably a party with 200 or 300 people there? No. Somebody got industrious and they believe they counted almost 20 cars. The total through the entirety of this clip, 20 cars. How the hell did you get 200 or 300 people? Some people have said 400 people in 20 cars. Truth just keeps on coming out. And I can't believe the people who have said that this video of Kiely going into the water, that, or what appears to be, that this proves there was no nothing nefarious happening. I disagree completely. At the very least, I think it's proof that you are not talking about a 200, 300, 400 person party. So, Sami, you have a problem with your story right there. Right off the bat, you have a problem with your story. Okay, now you're going to see this car come up here and get your eyes trained right, because you're going to notice the lights are shining out through the woods. And so it kind of gives this weird effect like there's a lot of cars there, but it's not. It's just a few. I kind of think it may be the car. They're coming from over at the campground, but the sanctuary where the party is supposed to be is right here. And you can't disregard these cars here. This is important. They have the Zav girl showed, they have a beeline view of Kiely's car in the water. Where they're sitting, there would not have been a tree. There would have been no obstruction between here and here. And none of them came forward. Now the car's under now. And it is, she didn't put the time on it. It's just nauseating. Okay, So somebody just started up their truck because you saw the lights go out across the road, right? So somebody just fired up their truck. The car's under maybe 20 seconds, right? And what do these guys do? What is that? Well, that long light that you saw going like that, to me, I think it's a spotlight. You know, like when guys go hunting, I think it's a spotlight. The redneck boys will know what I'm talking about. Sorry about that. See right there? That looks like a spotlight to me. What are they looking for? You get a little bit better picture of some specific lights, you know, occasionally through here. And she went right there, and there would have been no obstruction. They could have seen her going under. It's just crazy. You see the individual cars? And yet people are saying, oh, this proves that there was nothing unusual happening here. Really? Because I never questioned that this baby went off at 12:33 at night into that location. I wasn't one of the people that thought, oh, she went in days later. No. I never believed that. I believe that the cops have intentionally overlooked her car as it was in the bottom of the reservoir. I always felt that she went off the tip there at 12:33 because of the ping. In what world does this clear anybody? Because you've got people sitting right here with clear line of sight to that car bobbing around in the water before it goes down. And then let's watch and see what they do. Oh, they're driving toward that area. See them shining the spotlight? I think it's a spotlight. Now they're driving that direction. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. And you can see over here, you see the light shining into the trees here from where this truck is turning left. So they decide to drive straight over here, and I think they're looking to see what happened there at the end of the peninsula. So he makes the turn. See him? Now, the second truck pulls up, stops, and then turns around. Just sitting there. Why is he sitting there? Why is that truck sitting there? Were they picking someone up? Was there somebody down there getting out of the water that didn't have a ride? Just sitting. Looks like they're maybe turn their lights off and they're just using a flashlight maybe, and then they go ahead and get all the way around and they drive off now. I think they picked somebody up. I think they picked somebody up out of the water. It just makes me sick to my stomach. Okay, so I don't understand how this video. Big Red says Sam's Uber, right? Big Red, there you go. I don't quite understand why people look at this and believe that this proves that there was no foul play. To me, this is actually one of the most damning pieces of information, real evidence, direct evidence that we've seen. It looks like there were people in two trucks that were sitting back. That car, Kiely's car, went into the water. About 20 seconds after the car goes under and it's no longer, no lights seen, then one of those trucks goes ahead and drives off, and the other one goes right up there to the turnaround and seems to sit and wait for quite some time, and then finally makes the rest of the turn and drives off directly away from where Kiely went into the water. To me, this is one of the most damning things that we've seen. There was no party of 400 people. Can we agree? If you think that this is a piece of direct evidence that proves there was no large party with a mass exodus at 12:30. Y'all remember that? There's a mass exodus at 12:30. Where was it? So if you believe this is a damning piece of evidence, put a 1. If you think that it's all overrated, put a 2. My guess is the driver ran back to the last video. That too, Susan, is my guess. And I'm on board with Duty Ron. Yeah. Yep. There you go. Hey, CJ, welcome. There you go. How can we all be wrong? Literally, how can we all be wrong? Who looks at this video and sees anything that relieves anyone of any culpability? We never question. Hey, Boots Mahama, good to see you. We never questioned that Kiely went into that lake. We all knew that she did. And because of the ping on the phone, the last known location of the phone, we all assumed that's where she was from that night when she went missing. We all knew that. So how in the world does someone watch this and go, oh, there you go, proof. It was all just an accident. There's your proof. What? Are you watching? Are you looking at the evidence? You've got a couple of trucks sitting on the beach area, line of sight clear for where Kiely's car goes off the end of the peninsula and into the water and is underwater within 60 seconds. 20 seconds later, they move forward up to that left-hand turnoff. One of them drives away and seems to stop and wait up at the main road. The other person sits there for quite some time, appears to be waiting on someone, finally turns around, and then directly drives away from where the car went in. It's just incredible. And the driver's seat, you can see, thank you, Susan, you can see when they pull Kiely's car out of the water, It is so easily seen that her car seat is laid so far back, like a grown man was driving that vehicle. That's exactly right. It looked like one vehicle headed over toward the boat ramp, so wonder if someone went there to throw a phone in the water. Oh, Gregory, my goodness. This is I am really amazed at people who say, no, this means this is evidence that this was all an accident. I don't see evidence of an accident. What I see is exactly what I feared. And what I feared was someone was there in the moments after the car went under to pick up whoever it was that went out of that passenger side window. Yeah, well, we would hope that the FBI would have checked the cell phones, the GPS, like they did in the Chad Daybell case, because it was the GPS positioning of where Alex and Chad Daybell were those days that they found Kiely and JJ. So we know that the FBI has that capability, but I think that Captain Sam Brown has shown that their sheriff's department has not been willing to treat this like a crime scene. They have absolutely refused to investigate, in my opinion. Me too, Denise. I think it's a damning piece of evidence too, stealth mode. Yeah, I do. Agreed, Lena. Oh, that's sweet. Thank you, CJ. All right. Yeah, I like allegedly with Brittany. I think there was a small group there, not hundreds, and the road was blocked while the car sank. And again, there's another bit of unusual activity that really facilitated a crime. Blocking the road, stopped any of the other kids from exiting, possibly witnessing what was happening down at the beach, right? Yeah, I'm with you. And it does appear that Sami has some bruises and scratches on her legs that following day. Yeah, it's a very strange story, Lolo. The whole thing was it's something's wrong. The aftermath was weird. People getting angry at AWP for saving a family from years of questioning and not knowing where their loved one is. And then those very same family members, rather than being grateful to have the answers, they declare AWP and all of social media their enemies. But we weren't enemies in the beginning, were we? They were begging and pleading for us to get this story out and get it out everywhere. Remember? It's terrible. Terrible. Duty Ron just talked about how the FBI has high technology that they can take this raw footage and they can really clean it up. And we can see in this one video that I played here that Chronicles with Olivia has cleaned up. This is by far the very best copy I've seen. Olivia, I'm telling you, girl, this is great. You did a great job. Really impressed. Really, really impressed. This is so much clearer than anything, I've seen before this. So do you think law enforcement planted the road assistant guy to mislead AWP? I had that thought, Amy. I wondered, was this more of misleading AWP who were actually going to really look for her? I mean, they steered AWP away from the last known location. That right there is highly suspect to me. Now, my understanding is if anybody were to go to the attorney general, the state attorney general, and and bring with them some of this information with the claims that the sheriff's department has not investigated the case, then the state attorney general's office would take over the investigation. That's my understanding of it. So we can hope that Kiely's dad is in the process of doing that. Susan says, Judy Ron was hot about law enforcement screw ups. He said he did verify that the FBI has this video. They are making sure to destroy any proof of foul play. We've seen that before, Muffin Top. We have seen that before. AWP has the evidence for what the inside of the car looked like, the condition, and that's all I'm going to say about it. Yeah, I think the sheriff's department has a real problem in this cover-up. How are they going to explain the video recording that AWP did? And Kiely's grandfather seems to be all on board with, there's some funny business happening here. Would y'all agree? Do y'all think the grandpa seems, now did y'all know he's a civil engineer by training? He's not a dumb guy. He's a smart guy. Just because he, has chosen to live off grid and all that, he's a really bright, well-educated man. He and then the biological father, I think they both know. I think they know that there's something highly suspicious going on with the sheriff's department. That's exactly right, Susan. Yep. It was you could see the shock, right? You could see it, like even holding the computer, it was like holding Kiely. It was gentle, it's just terrible. It's just such a horrible loss. Such a horrible loss. The grandfather, but we don't have any way of knowing if he hasn't, given it to Lindsay and her husband, well, whatever he is, if they're husband, I don't know if they're married or what they are, but I don't know if he's already passed that ownership over to his daughter. I don't know. I know they've put it up for sale. Only bohemian people I've ever seen that wanted to be millionaires. You know what I mean? Yeah, I agree. So Greg Worth has a good point here. He says, I have a feeling based on Nick Wren's rattled look that in addition to Kiely being in the very back, she may have been partially or completely unclothed. Yeah, I don't know what he saw, but I'm with you 100%. He saw something. He's a grown man and he was tore up. And I know a lot of people say, well, it's the first time. Yeah, I know, but I've seen a lot of grown men and something like that doesn't tend to really upset them unless there was something quite obviously out of the ordinary. There could be honor in silence if all you do is lie. Yeah, that's a very good point, Elizabeth. Oh, is there an insurance policy? Do we know that to be true? And the grandfather stayed the whole time they were bringing the car out. He sat on that hill in a protective fashion, didn't he? Like he wasn't going to leave her. Lots of money and power is in Truckee. I think people have uncovered enough documents to, that is no longer conjecture. It's known. It's Lindsay's father that owns the lodge. I'm so sorry, Maine girl. I am so sorry. As a mother who just buried her daughter, I'm flabbergasted that Kiely's mom isn't forever grateful for these men. They found her baby, not knowing what would be the most horrendous thing to go through if they had not found her. See? That's what I cannot understand. I cannot understand this family saying thank you for saving, 30 years of living in a nightmare. I think it has been confirmed there was a $500,000 life insurance policy. Who the hell takes out a life insurance policy on their teenage daughter? Oh, a $500,000 one at that. Maybe 25,000, 50,000, for expenses. But to think about benefiting financially from the death of your child, my God. Nick saw the girl strapped in the back of the car. I think that too. Yeah. She was all smiles at the celebration of life. I call it the celebration of Truckee. They want all cash for the sale of the inn. Wow. Golly. Okay, it is sickening. It's one of those cases. It's just devastating, right? I remember having the same sick feeling thinking about the two babies, Watts kids, Bella and Cece. When I saw what was happening with Shanann and Cindy Watts and Jamie Watts and Jamie's friends, I just felt terrible. You had this realization that, Shanann never had a chance. She had no idea that kind of evil was around her. She thought she was just living a normal middle class, life. She had no idea what people were cooking up behind the scenes. Okay, folks. I'm going to call it a night. This is I think my third video, maybe a fourth video today. I released a couple of them to members only, and then we've got these two. So Cinnamon Hot, the mods, you guys are awesome. I appreciate you so much. Putting up the links to Captain Kurt Reacts and then Chronicles with Olivia. So both of these channels are putting out really, really great content related to the disappearance and death of Kiely Rodni. This thing with Meghan is so unusual and upside down. I don't think I would believe a word she's saying, but that's just me. Anybody can do what they, whatever they think. But I do think that the panel that Kurt had last night did a great job kind of exposing. She's just all over the place. It's hard to follow what she's saying. So, all right, everybody, you guys I am the luckiest person on YouTube because we have such a great community. And I appreciate you guys being here. And I hope y'all have like a super great Saturday night. And tomorrow is Sunday. All right. See you tomorrow. Bye.
This is the loudest snow I've ever heard in my life.